been? How did we get here so fast? Where's it all gone? So look, today is all about implementation. Yesterday we had a little bit of implementation with Gemma and stuff, but today is all about focusing on how to take what you've learned and how to move forward with it. And that is what it's all about. That's what, because there's no point in being here for a whole week and not using it somehow. So let's look at who's coming into us today. Let's look at what we've got here today. Well, I've also got today, actually, I've got Susie Beaumont waiting in the wings here. So we've got another, some more presentation coming up. We're going to work directly with you on this implementation stuff. But at the moment, let's talk about what's coming up later. So we have got today, we've got Kylie Jones, and she is going to be giving us digital planning tools to help and organize your life or business. Now, Kylie is a former VA. In fact, she's still a VA, which is virtual assistant. And she runs the virtual assistant or the VA mentor program. She teaches VAs how to be VAs, basically. And she's been doing this for about 15 years. So she's absolutely a wizard with all these kind of online tools and things. So it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. And that's followed at 7:30 by Louise Miller. Now, Louise is right up my street. She's all about simplicity and about making things work. It's about planning. It's about how to do the planning. And it's like, I love that she said that, you know, the laundry basket, there will always be a sock in the laundry basket. You know, it's never empty. Which I think is just like, yeah. And that's the to-do list. The to-do list is never empty. But what I did like about it, she says, you know, don't go big, go small or go nowhere. So to find out what that means, you're going to have to watch, aren't you? It's absolutely brilliant. And then finally, to wind up the evening, to wind up the whole process, we've got Tager Digby. Now, Tager, I have known for 5 years, Tager, and he is the quiet man in the corner. He's the man that never speaks unless attention comes to him. And then he will deliver utter gold. He's the sage in the corner. This man would never say much about what he does. He's very private. He's very quiet. I've had to twist his arm to come onto this thing to come and talk to us. But he has run multi-million-pound businesses in the background. He assists basically entrepreneurs to run their empires by putting in systems, by putting in people, helping them to outsource aspects of what they do. And he does it all quietly in the background and no one knows. So today I've got him to share his Google Drive with us. We get to see what's in, you know, how he organizes things and how he organizes people. His business, his actually own business, rather than helping other people, is he runs a recruitment company for finding staff for entrepreneurs. And he also runs a podcast processing service where he helps podcast hosts to process and get their podcast out in the world. So, but it's going to be fascinating, you know, seeing the inside story of how he does that. So I mentioned this yesterday. I just want to show it now in the stream. If I can find where my mouse has gone. There it is. The freebies. This is the freebies that I didn't do that right, did I? I need to do that one. No, I need to do that one instead. There you go. This is the freebies that are available from those speakers. Let's come down the page here. So Louise has the big idea to inspire action, download, and that's a powerful process in terms of how to inspire yourself into action. And I've got the 5 questions worksheet, which you can find on my area on the speaker dashboard. Now, also, I think Tager did mention he's going to put some stuff in there. So I need to chase Tager up for that one. So if it doesn't arrive before the end of the day, it will go out in an email to you, because he did have some useful information. He mentions it on his talk, so I'll make sure I chase him up for that. Right, so that is enough of the housekeeping for the day. Let's get rid of that and bring you back. So now I'm going to introduce you to Susie Beaumont. Now, Susie is a friend of mine, an old friend of mine, because I met Susie on the podcast probably 2 years ago. There's a theme here, isn't there, of all these people I meet? And we kept connected together, and I was involved when Susie's been, gosh, today I am motor mouthing today. Okay, you're going to be laughing at me. I can see Susie laughing at me in the back, because I can see her. Right, so Susie is a former BBC producer. and she's the founder of Change Your World. And that's the story. It was a story of personal development that led her to create this events company, which changes people's worlds using power of personal development. And I'm not going to say any more because I am definitely running out of steam here today. I need to talk about that. I'll tell you about a bit more about that in a minute. Let's bring Susie into the feed. My mouse keeps disappearing. There we go. Susie is about to arrive, and there she is. Hello, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for the lovely introduction, Paul.
Well, it was
I was like, how are you going to introduce me? I'm intrigued.
Do you know, we're talking about getting out of our comfort zones this week, and last night I was so out of my comfort zone last night. So I tried to do the intro as a completely live feed, just because it just kind of think it brings a new energy to it. And last night we got up to the point, I literally was moments away from it going live, and the feeds wouldn't connect. And it was just, and I was like, and I just did, and I just like, oh, no, keep calm. I was so out of my comfort zone with it, because eventually when it did connect, there was no bloody sound, and I'm going, and it really, really threw me for the whole program. I kind of put it together, but by the end of the program, I just wanted to get off air. I was screaming. I just wanted to go.
I think that's probably a result of a busy, full-on week creating this incredible event, which massive well done to you. And just getting to that point of, everything going well, and then technology, which always does, throws you a curveball, myself included. My internet went down last night and this morning, so fingers crossed it holds out for this. But that's when you're not able to fully be present and focused on what you want to do, and you've got these other things niggling. But that's life, isn't it? Life comes in and throws us curveballs, and we've got to deal with it. And
no one does.
No.
And I was able to do something about it at the end. So what I need to do, I've just realized I need to find a headset. Cheryl, can you find a headset for me? It's on the table and it's in the lounge.
Isn't it wonderful having an assistant now that you can call upon to help you with your?
Otherwise, I was going to have to show everybody my pants as I get up and go and get them, because I'm in Zoom outfit today.
What people don't know is the reason I'm not coming on is because I haven't got my hair.
No, I need to put a headset on here when I'm talking to you. Otherwise, the sound of we get a loop. So at least if I've got this on, your sound doesn't track through, and we don't get a loop. So
okay. Hopefully it'll all work. I should have put a headset on.
You're ex-BBC. You should know these things.
Yeah, I do. But it's your show.
So look, tell us a little about your story, because today's all about accountability moving forward. People have been here for 5 days, and it's like they could just go here and they could leave and go, well, that was fun, and go and get on with their life, really. And that would be a waste. There is stuff you need to do, and take stuff out of this, move forward. If it was, Gemma Ray said it yesterday, if we could just do 1%, just 1%. That's
an incredible, over 365 days, that's massive. That's huge momentum.
But 1% a week or 1% a month, just those bits make a massive difference.
Yeah.
But anyway, your story is you were leading, for all intents and purposes, a great life. You were a BBC producer, you were successful, you were doing all the things, except life wasn't like that on the inside for you, was it really?
No. I had essentially, got to a place where I had a successful job, I had a beautiful home, I was in a relationship, it all looked rosy, and parts of it were. My job, I absolutely loved my job as a radio producer, and I was doing really well at it. I was winning awards for my program making. I loved the people that I got to connect with. I loved who I got to learn from and grow, and just the beauty of that job, the people it exposed me to and allowed me to have amazing conversations with, that I just took something away from every time. But I was throwing all my efforts into work because that was going well, and I was ignoring and avoiding all the other areas of my life. So I was in a miserable relationship that really wasn't serving me. It was actually toxic. I didn't have my own healthy boundaries in place. I was in a lot of debt. Circumstances had led to you know, my partner being out of work for some time, we bought a big house that had a large mortgage, so there was a huge pressure on us around that. I had some health issues, you know, just under the stress and pressure and not doing any self-care, any exercise, eating well, looking after myself. So there was some health issues there. And just generally, I'd got to my mid-30s and just thought, wow, is this it? Eat, sleep, work, repeat. I was just like, I'd kind of achieved everything I was supposed to achieve that society expects of you. And I just thought, I don't feel happy. I really don't. I would look at my friends and they seem to have it all sorted. And I had this malaise in me, this just uneasy feeling that this sucks, quite frankly. Fortunately, through my job as a BBC producer, I was making a radio programme and I was introduced to Alistair Stewart, who's a life coach. And we were interviewing him about the tragic loss of his son, actually. And off air, you know, I was asking him, well, what's a life coach? What's that? And he just simply said, you know, I help people reach their true potential. And then bluntly said, you could do with some life coaching. I was like, how very dare you? Nothing wrong, because I was putting on my best professional front, and I was like, you know, putting the charade on, pretending everything was sorted in my life. And
but I know Alistair now. I've met him a few times, and it's funny. I can just see him saying that, and I could see the delivery that he would deliver, and it wouldn't be aggressive. It wouldn't be in it. It would just be the big teddy bear going, you could do some coaching, and it would be like, what? And it would land.
Yeah, I mean, with Alistair, he's got a very, I would say, I mean, we joke about this. He's got a very intimidating presence. He's large, you know, but like you say, his words land. Is the way he delivers it, and he doesn't do it in any. I mean, he knows my sense of humor. I'm very sarcastic, so he knew how to deliver it to me so it would land. And there was a hint of sort of sarcasm there, but a very much warm, caring, I really want to help you. I see your potential and you are not reaching it.
Yeah.
So yeah, took me 4 months to pluck up the courage to pick up the phone to him. But yes, so that started the whole journey of us going, of me starting life coaching sessions. And that I was, you know, Alistair started asking questions of me that I had never been asked in any environment, my work, my schooling days, anything, you know, just simple questions that we should always stop and pause. Like, you know, what do you want in life? What makes you happy? What makes your heart sing? You know, and I was like, you know, he said, what do you want? And I said, I just want to be happy. And he was like, well, what does happiness look like to you? And I was like, I have no idea. You know, I'd never stopped to consider this. I'd just gone into the career. I'd done the, you know, the college, getting the training, gone into the career, got the relationship, got the house. And I thought, I'm still not happy because I hadn't sorted out my emotional values, my, you know, my foundations, what my values are, what was important to me, you know, what I really, truly wanted for life. I do think all these materialistic things come naturally and easily and can come when you get your own foundations and your own value systems right, and you get the emotion sorted and you deal with all the wounds, that all the limiting beliefs, all the things that have held you back, all the obstacles. So anyway, so this started a whole journey where I went on, you know, deep self-discovery. And, you know, I was thrown some massive grenades in my life during that time. I mean, I won't go into full, but in the space of sort of 2 years, I mean, my mum and sister both diagnosed with terminal cancer within 4 months of each other. I then split up with my partner, which meant moving house, you know, separating, all the drama that goes around with that. I also became carer and guardian for my other sister, Shelley, because she has learning disabilities. So when my mum did pass away, Shelley came to live with me. My relationship with my brother completely broke down, and, you know, we don't have a relationship anymore. And so there was a lot of loss and change and adjustment and everything. And even my job, which had been my sort of, you know, my passion, all of a sudden that was starting to fail and deteriorate because I could not cope under all the stress and pressure and grief that I was dealing with. So every foundation that I'd known, everything that had been my life had just been chucked up in the air and was just spattered, and I didn't even know who I was, what I wanted. And, you know, at that moment in time, it was just very much survival. There was no real personal development and, you know, aspiring to the goals and, you know, creating the life that I really want. It was just purely survival, and using the tools and techniques that Alistair and the books I was reading, any courses I went on, just using those tools and techniques to apply to my life, to get to a place where I had some foundations to work from. Now, you know, that meant, so my sister Shelley, you know, I was able to get a care package in place, and, you know, she now lives in her own house with a fantastic team of carers. You know, my other sister had passed away. Once we'd sort of dealt with all that and started dealing with the grief, and it got to a place where, you know, I was back at work and it was like, okay, what now? And there was no more avoidance. There was nobody else to deal with, and nothing else to sort out other than myself. And, you know, there was my own grieving to first and foremost to deal with. But beyond that, once I'd got to a point where I'd sort of really, you know, I mean, I went on every workshop you can imagine. I read self-help books, I had life coaching sessions, I went to retreats, I went off traveling. I really went off on a whole self-discovery journey. And I was sat back at my desk after, you know, many years, probably 4 or 5 years of real deep self-discovery. And just sat at my desk thinking, I can't have gone through everything I've gone through just to sit here and keep doing the same thing. This no longer, the job that I was so passionate about no longer was fulfilling. I had outgrown it. There was another step, and I couldn't fulfill that hunger that I had inside of me in the role, even though there was massive potential within the BBC to, I mean, the media is such a powerful tool. We can do so much with it, but it saddens me that it's used so negatively. It could be used in such an empowering way. And I realized I am never going to be able to change this inside the organization. I am more powerful outside the organization than I am in it, which is a crazy statement to make, considering how powerful the media is.
The amazing thing, of course, is that yes, you are, and so much so that they invited you back to speak to their staff.
I know. It was hilarious because I kind of almost felt like, you know, it's not that I left under a dark cloud, but I just felt that kind of I didn't feel that my departure was handled in the most empowered way, shall we say. And yeah, the irony that I was invited back, I'm very aware the sun's coming here, shining right in my face, but
It's making you look very...
I look very illuminated. The angels are shining upon me.
Well, I was thinking for a bit art house. It's becoming, the lighting in your room is definitely becoming a bit art house. It's been casting a very strong shadow.
Yeah, I don't even know I can turn away from it. But yes, I was invited back to do a keynote speech for women in leadership. So there'd been a 6-month program, and it was encouraging women in the BBC to really step out of the comfort zone, become leaders. I think I'm going to have to turn that blind down. Give me 2 seconds. Yes, that's better. So yeah, I was invited to deliver a keynote speech about women in leadership, and fundamentally that speech was sharing my story, but it was very much all about going to work on yourself, the power of personal development. The irony that I was invited back, I mean, 4th of July as well, Independence Day, which I thought, oh, the universe has got such a sense of humor. But yeah, I mean, I just shared my story and explained the power of personal development and what that can do for you. And that's, you know, essentially what you've set up in this this event, by giving people the springboard to start their personal development journey, to really start looking at yourself, to listen to inspiring speakers and really start that journey of going, okay, what do I want? What is the life? What is holding me back? What's my limiting beliefs? But yeah, I was invited to do that. But fundamentally, as I sat there that day in the BBC, just thinking, I've got to do more than, I can't just sit at my desk doing the same thing I've always done. That started me on a journey of thinking, okay, I need to do something else, but what do I want to do? I did not have a clue. And 18 years in the BBC, I didn't even know what my transferable skills were. I thought, what use? Making a radio program, what use is that in the real world? I didn't understand the skills I'd actually built up and acquired, all the connections I'd made, the communication skills, getting people on side. I would invite people onto my radio programs with the most harrowing of stories. And, they would trust me to share their story, and they trusted me that I would do a good job and I wouldn't be like many journalists can be and screw them over, because that just was not my ethos at all. I really had a passion for giving people a platform to share their story. And so, yeah, I realized that, okay, there's some skills there. And I'd, part of the personal development journey said, if you're trying to look for what you want to do in your life, your true vocation, your true passion, list all your skill sets and list what you're passionate about and try and marry them together. So I started, so a friend of mine had asked me, he was starting a podcast series and asked me if I knew any interesting guests. And I said, gosh, yes, I know loads. So I started phoning around these people and saying, can I pass your number on? And in the space of an afternoon, I thought, wow, I really do know a lot of people that are doing amazing things in the world. And I thought, the single common denominator was that they were all doing it tirelessly on their own. And I just thought, I had the thought, what would happen if I could get them in a room together? What could we create? So I asked myself this question. I was always into collaboration. And the idea, I was like, I know, I'll put on, my passions are helping people. My passion is personal development, health and well-being. And I thought, right, I know my skill sets are putting on a show, a radio show or a TV show. I'll put on a conference. How hard can it be? I'll put on a personal development conference, health and well-being conference. This is my skill set. This is my passions. I'm marrying it together and I'm making a difference, helping other people, inspiring other people. How hard can that be? Well, I discovered.
But also you did it in Inverness.
Yes, where everybody told me it was not possible.
Well, it was possible, but it's a very small crowd compared to doing it in Glasgow or Edinburgh, that sort of stuff. It's a small place. Well, it isn't small, but the catchment area for it is small. But it still worked. You did it 3 times.
I did it 3 times in Inverness and 1 time in Glasgow. And yeah, each event was successful. The first event, going from being completely unknown, I had 200 people at that event. It's just incredible. The thing that I learned from that event, it completely and utterly depleted myself. I pushed every comfort zone I have ever had, because I had to get over my fear of public speaking. I was asked to do a press launch. I was like having kittens at the idea of this. I was just, because I have always been the producer. I hide behind the scenes and I make everybody else shine. I never had been at the forefront, and I had no interest in being at the forefront. That was still always my thing, making everybody else shine. And I still enjoy doing that, but running your own business requires you to step up and get over yourself, get out of the way, and you've got to start speaking for your own company. So
you are an introvert, and yet look at you do now.
Yes. And this is a hilarious thing. I never really sort of realized I was an introvert, but I am. I really, I can go up, I can be out there. I love to be sociable. I enjoy connecting with people and having conversations, but I have to come back and I have to recharge. I have to have my silence. I have to retreat back to my sanctuary, back to my garden, my home, and just have some space, because I can't deal with noise. And like you see these people are all like dead socialites, always out and about. I'm like, that is not me. You know, I need my downtime and my grounding time, and just recharging. But what essentially the conferences taught me, you know, so this was my thing. I was like, right, I set up my first conference, did it alongside the day job while I was still working. You know, I went part-time for 4 days. So I was doing this every spare minute, evenings, weekends. And yes, I was completely and utterly depleted. And my first conference went really well. And everyone's like, when are you going to do the next one? And honestly, see, when every time somebody asked me that, I just felt like I'd given birth and somebody was telling me I was pregnant with twins and I had to do it all again. I was just like, oh, never doing this again. However, I did do it again. I did it 3 more times. But what I started to learn, and this is what we'll touch on around accountability and, you know, trying to create change in your life. What I learned from those events, I was like, these events are fantastic. We're seeing inspirational speakers coming on. They're inspiring the audience. The attendees are coming out and going, that was amazing. Oh, I learned so much from that. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. And they would go away fired up, totally motivated, just like, yes, I'm going to change my world. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. 5 days later, 2 weeks later, a month later, they're just right back into the carousel of life, the treadmill of life, and they're sucked back in. And I started thinking, okay, the whole ethos of Change Your World is the ripple effect. So the idea through having a personal development practice is that when you have a personal development practice, you start to think better. When you think better, you make better choices. When you make better choices, you get better results. And that's when your world starts to change. So it creates a ripple effect. It's about encouraging people to take positive action so that they'll get positive results. That's the ripple effect. And more we do that, the bigger the ripple effect. More people we can encourage to do that, that organically changes the world in the process. So it all starts with us. Changing yourself changes everything.
Absolutely.
I realized my events were like going to the gym once and expecting to be fit and healthy for the rest of your life. It was not creating the ripple effect. And I thought, this is not working. This is not actually having the ripple effect I want. I mean, yes, some people were making changes, and any change, you know, positive change is fantastic. But I was like, I'm failing. We're missing something fundamental here. And I was like, okay, so what is working and what's not? And I realized, okay, my speakers, you know, all my amazing coaches, health and wellbeing professionals, they were working, absolutely. The community that arrives on the day, they were working, but they needed to keep connecting. You mentioned that I did my events in Inverness. You know, I wasn't able to find enough people that were ready for change, because you've got to be ready. You've got to have reached your point where you've had enough and you're saying, I am done with this and no more. So I had to take it online. And, you know, I started looking at all the elements that were working and the elements that weren't working. And fundamentally, I came up with the Change Your World every day. So this became an online platform, a daily coaching group where I was bringing different speakers, coaches in every week. And we were creating the community. Because if you look at clubs like Slimming World, Weight Watchers, all these kind of organizations, they always work while people are connected and are in it. And there's that community. You're keeping you motivated when you feel like giving up. You go for the accountability to check in and get yourself weighed, that kind of thing. As soon as you know, then you lose the weight, and then you leave that community, and then the weight starts piling on. That's the failing in that system. Until if you don't deal with all the other stuff, the emotional reasons why you got there, then you're never going to create the right foundations, the right platform to lead your life. So, you know, realize community, role models, accountability, but fundamentally it had to be consistent. There had to be a daily habit and practice. So going to the gym, using that analogy, if you want to be fit and healthy, you've got to go 3 times a week, 4 times a week, whatever, you know, it might require. But it's not just once in a blue moon. Now, all these workshops, events like yours, Any training sessions we see at work. I mean, you know what it's like when you're employed by an organization. You have a training session, you come out going totally inspired. You're like, yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to sort my time management. I'm going to sort out my stress levels, da, 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 da. And then you just get sucked back into the everyday grind. But if you don't have that constant reminder, those constant reinforcement of the tools and techniques, the inspirations, being surrounded by people that keep you inspired, keep you motivated when you feel like giving up, remind you of the tools and techniques that you can implement, remind you to ditch the habits that are not serving you, then you are going to fall by the wayside. So that's what I set up, Change Your World Every Day. And that's essentially what it is. It's an online daily coaching community where I bring health and wellbeing professionals, motivational speakers, coaches, and they will coach every morning at 8 a.m. for 20 to 30 minutes and on their specialist subject. And yeah, we've just got this growing community. Yourself and Cheryl, your lovely wife, are both in the group. You know, you've been part of it from the start. You helped me launch it. And it's been, you know, it's fantastic just to see how the members are evolving and just starting to bat away those limiting beliefs, those obstacles that come up when you're going through the challenge of change. Because if change was easy, we'd all do it and we'd just get on it and we wouldn't need any of this. But with change, you're undoing old patterns, old habits, old limiting beliefs. And you've got, first of all, you've got to become aware of them before you can start dealing with them. And that's where I'm at now. And yeah, I just love it. I get so much reward from learning from the coaches myself, but equally just watching the members grow and just seeing them shine. It's a privilege.
It is change and see them go through that. I mean, yeah, Michelle and I are an example of that. We stepped up to do this.
Yeah.
And
look at the ripple effect of what you've created just by doing this. You did your first event, you really pushed your comfort zone there, you learned loads from that. You've gone from that event to now creating a 5-day event. How many people have you reached and shared, and the ripple effect of that? How many people have you inspired and given them tools and techniques to take away into their life? And what's the ripple effect of that? Them changing their world and their family, the personal, the professional life. Amazing.
What is interesting is there was an accident in my advertising for this event. So I did an advertising using Quora. And Quora is an international questions website. So I was doing some advertising on there, but what I hadn't realized is that the advertising was going international. So we have got some people from all over the world on this. I would never have considered there's people from Pakistan, people from little tiny countries all over the place, all over the world, because they use Quora and they saw the adverts on Quora.
Fantastic.
And it's like, oh, okay. And I hadn't anticipated or expected that. And I kind of thought, oh, that wasn't a clever thing to do. And yet maybe it is.
That's a universal intervention, I would say.
Yeah, my accident of not clicking US and UK in terms of the choice of adverts.
Why would you limit yourself to that, Paul?
Budget and funding on advertising.
Okay. Sometimes there's some realistic constraints that we have to deal with, some practicalities. Yeah,
but it's like, and then I did change it to the US, but it's interesting. I noticed that, where did they come from? That it's like, oh, of course, that must be the Quora advertising, and it's like fascinating to see that.
But you just don't know who your speakers and your audience and the people that are sharing it. You just don't know where their reach will go to. And when the student is ready, the teacher appears. That's
true. But the key point I wanted to put across here is that this, and what Susie is pointing out here, is this idea that it's accountability. The only way to move this forward, I mean, Gemma said the same thing, and other speakers will say the same thing. It is about a process. It is accountability. It is about doing, as I would say, doing the marathon. You don't do this by just one-offs. If you want to get more confident, you've got to exercise the muscle. If you want to, it's all the same thing. It's a question about that daily change. So my question is what are our listeners going to do to their daily change? How are they going to find? I mean, if it's just a matter of saying, okay, I'm going to use the planning tools you're giving me later this evening, and I'm going to use those planning tools, that's fine. That's great. Do that. I don't mind what you do. I don't have any impact on what you do. I know the gate of change is locked on the inside, as they say. Only you can change.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Absolutely, that you have to take ownership. You have to decide what you want to do. But fundamentally, I think just doing one thing will create a ripple effect. If you think about, even if you simplify your life, because we do overcomplicate everything. If you just simplify your life down to a series of choices and you think mindfully, you just pause for a second and say, okay, I'm about to do this. Now it might be, I don't know, reaching for a biscuit, or it might be, going for a run. Use the exercise health analogy. Given that we're in COVID-19 territory and we should be boosting our immune systems and we need to keep ourselves healthy and strong. So you can reach for that biscuit, and that's a temporary pleasure. And it will taste good and it'll be great. Or you can say, right, actually, I'm going to go for a walk around the block or a run, or I'm going to do 10 sit-ups, whatever. One of those choices will take you, if your goal is to be healthy and fit, will take you closer to that goal. One of them will take you away from that goal. So if you can break it down mindfully into the choices that you make. Now, you might say, do you know what? I just want the biscuit. I just need it today. That's fine, but at least take ownership of it. Don't blame anyone else for your health issues or project, because you have made that choice. Now, that sounds harsh. I'm aware of that, because there are other complexities around it. There's emotional needs, and that's why it's kind of getting to the root cause of things. And that's why I'm so passionate about personal development practice, because it is going, okay, well, why am I making that choice? Why am I not valuing myself? If it's a negative choice, why am I not valuing myself? What's the self-worth esteem issues there that I need to work on? Where's the limiting belief that I don't deserve to be healthy and well and happy and abundant? And, work on those, and then that makes the choices much more, or at least work the 80-20 rule. We've spoke about this many a time, where 80% of the time you're making good, empowering choices. 20% of the time you're like, you know what, cutting myself some slack, I want to have that biscuit today. So it's having some balance in life, but at the same time make sure that your positive choices are always overbalancing the negative choices.
I think I think it's fascinating about the 80-20 rule. You bring that out, because when I consider the people that have turned up for this, if you consider the world as a whole, the people that have turned up in this are in the 20%. You are in the 20% that recognizing that, well, when I advertised this program, I said there ain't going to be no rescue. It's up to us to be our own rescuers. Only we can make the changes needed in our lives to step up and do what's necessary. And that's why it's reasons and results. It's the reasons for not doing something, but it's the results for doing something. You find your results, do something. Time to drop the excuses. And I know I keep reinforcing these points. And at some points, it is a tough love conversation. It's like, come on, we have to wake up. So you're in the 20%.
Yeah, I do have the exception to that, and this is my biggest fundamental passion and message that I have, because I think that comes down to role models. Because until I had a role model that challenged me to think differently and taught me that there could be a different way to think that would open up my perspectives, I was doing what everyone else was doing. I was just doing the eat, work, sleep, repeat, and not thrive. It was only when I was introduced. I mean, I was fortunate in my BBC career. I was being exposed to people that were starting to open up my world and starting to make me question things. But that was just in the world in general. There was no personal development. So when I was introduced to Alistair, and he would ask me why I did certain things or why I thought that way, or, you know, and he would say, wouldn't a more empowering way to think be this? And I would be like, oh my God, that's so freaking obvious. Why have I not thought of that? And because nobody had ever put that to me. So that my biggest thing, and you know, that's what Change Your World Every Day is about putting you in front of role models, people that will lift you up, inspire you, give you tools and techniques to be a different way or think a different way, to try new things. And I mean, Camelin, our coach of the week this week, she said it. What was it? She said, you know, you cannot get better in the environment that made you sick in the first place. Really powerful. You know, you cannot get better in the environment that made you sick in the first place. And we are, you know, Alistair taught me this as well. And one of your other speakers I had the other day, you know, we become the direct reflection of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So think about, who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? Ask yourself, are they encouraging you to be more than you are, like helping you to reach your potential? Are they, you know, supporting you and lifting you up? Do they keep you small? Do they encourage you and motivate you? Or, you know, what is that relationship like? Now, I started, you know, putting I'm so uncomfortable, and Keith spoke about this as well when he went to a networking event. He was so shy. And, you know, you put yourself, I mean, I was an introvert. I wasn't confident. Despite the job I was doing, I wasn't confident. I certainly was not confident in networking events. People used to tell me all the time, Susie, you need to network. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. I don't even know how to network. What do you do? And, you know, I realized, actually, it's just having a conversation with somebody. But, you know, I always felt like I had to bring something to the table. However, you know, I found myself going to these events and going, okay, rather than me bringing something to the table, let me just be silent and learn from other people, you know, and start listening and see what I can learn from others. And then when I heard something that I thought, oh, that inspires me, or that resonates, oh, could I be like that? Or I saw somebody, I think, wow, look at them, look how they've got that going on, or I'd love to be like that. I'd be like, okay, let me find out what they did. What have they done? How did they do it? You know, you don't have to figure it all out on your own. Just model other people. But what I will say is bring your own truth, your own values into it. You know, make sure it's in alignment with your values. That's one of my other points, you know, about work out fundamentally what your values are, because whatever challenge you are doing, whether it's setting up a new business, I mean, you know, taking it to the next level, or going for a new job, raising family, find out what your values are, because when you know your values, it makes life simpler, because decision making becomes, it's either in keeping with my values or it's not. And if it's not in keeping with your values, then you just walk away, you ditch it, you know, and you keep it in alignment with your values. So if health is a big value of mine, you know, and yeah, I fall off the wagon, you know, my self-care, when life gets busy, is the first thing that falls. I've got to keep reminding myself. And that's what my group does for me, keeps me reminding me of my self-care. Okay, I am telling myself that health is a big value for me. So why am I not sleeping well? Why am I not drinking enough water? Why am I not taking my morning walks on my morning run? Why am I not socializing? Why am I not resting and relaxing and all that? You know, all the things that keep my self-care nourished. Why am I not doing my personal development practice? So that's what my group keeps me accountable when I, you know, start to neglect myself and life gets busy. It brings me back on track with alignment with my values. So, and again, it just keeps you've got a, it's like you've got a roadmap when you know your values. It's like your own 10 commandments, not to bring it religious, but create your own 10 commandments for yourself of what your values are in life. You know, whether it in the personal life, your professional life, set healthy boundaries and keep in line with those boundaries. If you find yourself straying from it, then bring yourself back to it. You know, we're all guilty of straying. We all do it. That's human nature, and that's you know, that's life. Life gets in the way. All kinds of obstacles can throw curveballs at you, and that's okay. But if you know your core route, your roadmap to come back to, you know the direction you're heading into, you've got that foundation. I'm all about foundations. That's fundamentally what it's about.
It's about making the space.
Mm.
Make the time and the space to do this stuff. It's like too many people sit around watching Netflix and hope life will get better.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen. So it is about finding the window, creating the window of time to do something. So for me, self-care now has become critically important. I used to exercise a lot before COVID hit. And now I have a morning routine here. So I was saying to Susie before I come on, I've done yoga now for 40 days straight. So I've got a yoga practice I'm now doing. And I'm running and that sort of stuff. So for me, that is very much part of my life, is that level of fitness.
And I am so in awe of people like you. So you like all these people that were doing exercises at home and they were following online personal trainers. I am so in awe of those people, because that does not work for me. I need a class. I need other people around about me. I need that social element. And I have not been exercising. I mean, I used to have a running buddy. She loved running. She was so motivated, loved all the doing marathons, and she did Ironmans and everything. But the beauty with her was she was so patient and encouraging, and she supported me to get into a running practice. And I was slow. I held her back. I moaned. I complained. She was amazing. And that's what I mean about role models. So if you want to improve on something, get somebody that's better than you, so that you can start going up to their level. They can bring you up and raise your game, rather than somebody that's, you know, often, particularly with running or exercise, you get somebody that's the same as you, and they're like, and you both talk each other out of the exercise regime and stuff. It's like, oh, well, we just have coffee and cake, and said yes. You know, and I've been with that person. I'm like, no. I need to be with somebody that's way more motivated than me to keep me accountable, because especially with something like that, you know, I can let it slide. So
they went round to a friend's house to prep to go somewhere and drank tea.
It's easy done.
It's easy done. So look, we've been talking for a while, and I guess you and I have got to be careful, because we can talk on this subject all day.
Yes.
And beyond. We are known for it. We've done this before. We just keep talking.
I know. Well, it's because we're so passionate about it, you know.
It is. So to bring it together and tie it up. So Change Your World Every Day is an online program. I'm a member of it. My wife's a member of it. Gemma Ray's actually, she's been a coach and a member of it. Connie is also a member of it.
Yes, she was one of our coaches, and this is the thing with my coaches, they stay on as members and they interact and engage with, because they just love what we're doing. It keeps them accountable as well. So
and that was what I was pointing out this week as well. If you notice, a lot of the coaches who have been on this week have actually been in the group taking notes and all sorts of stuff. So it's been interesting. They recognize where there's an edge and there's more to learn.
Yeah. And that's the thing, it's just, you know, we don't all as individuals have the answers. I mean, that was one of the other reasons why I set up the group the way that I did, because I've been involved in groups, personal development groups, and they've taken me so far. They've been fantastic, but they've always been led by one person. And that person could only take me so far, or, you know, I could only learn so much from that person. Yeah. So I didn't want to just have one person. I mean, I could have selected maybe 3 or 4 coaches and had them as my core team. And we do have them as a core. We do have a core accountability team of coaches. But I wanted to create a space where people could be a scientist in their own life, that they didn't be just following that blindly, that guru mentality. Oh, he's wonderful, she's wonderful, you know. I wanted people to be empowered themselves, to be a scientist in their own life, go on their own personal development journey. It's called personal development because it's personal to you. What's right for you, Paul, is not right for me. And people need to absolutely find out what is the right key for them. We've had lots of tips and tools and techniques across the week with all your amazing speakers. It's finding out what's right. So be a scientist. So try new things, experiment, go out there and, say, okay, let me give this a shot. This tool, this technique sounds amazing. Let me try it. Find out, then do a review, an evaluation. We have evaluation. We have 3 weeks of coaching, and then we have evaluation week. That is the most important week, because that is measuring your progress. Okay, what have I learned this week? What am I going to do with it? What is working well? What still needs work? It's really simple, because sometimes when you're in the midst of change, you don't even realize the progress that you're making. So it's so great to stop and pause and go, okay, actually, what have I done this week? I've done this, I've changed this, all the rest of it. And, and then we're going, okay, well, that didn't quite work out. Let's review that. What do I need? Where's my new focus? Because as you start a personal development practice and you start putting daily habits, some things will become automatic. It's like when you learn to drive a car, there's all these things to learn, and then all of a sudden you're just doing it second nature. Same with personal development, and you'll find that some things have just become second nature and you're just doing it on autopilot now, the positive thing. So it's things, that's where you need to stop, review and reevaluate and kind of go, okay, well, now where do I need to put my focus? What is not second nature? What is still needing some work? And, what's my limiting beliefs? What's my obstacle? Another thing Cam said today, she said our role, she said about potential, and she said, it's not for us to know what our potential is. It is simply to remove the obstacles and limiting beliefs. And again, I thought that was so powerful, because we have no idea what our potential is and how far we can go. But if we go on this journey of just removing the limiting beliefs, the obstacles, the things that hold us back, whether that's physical, emotional, mental, wherever, or practicalities of life, the things that are draining you, holding you back, then just remove those obstacles, clear the path. I always say it's like a stairwell full of weeds and dirt, and you go on the first step, you clean it all down, dust it all down, you get comfortable there, that's your new norm, and then it's like, okay, let's look up at the next step. Let's start clearing that needs dusting down, now needs clearing, let me clear all the debris away, and then you just carry on this journey, and who knows where that will lead you to. So
it's interesting, because when I started at the gym, I think probably around 2015, maybe a bit later, maybe 2016, I hadn't been to the gym for years, and I recognized I needed to get fit. My father, I could see the state my father was getting with his knees and stuff, and I thought, so it's time I did something about that. So I went to the gym and I started, exercising. And I started running on a running machine, and I was having pain in my knees, and eventually it was my right knee was causing me real trouble. And eventually I went to the doctor and ended up with a physio at it. And because I hadn't used my legs and knees for years, I had lost some of the muscles around my knees. I mean, they were there, but they had disappeared. And there's a muscle called the tear muscle, and mine was about that big. My tear muscle. It's a large muscle that sits on the side of the knee up the leg. And so I could run about a kilometer without being in pain. And they gave me some exercise and I started building up. So that was 2015. 3 years later, in the September, I did the Inverness 10K.
Well done.
So for 3 years, that's in 3 years. All right, it took me 3 years to get the strength. Now that tear muscle now on my leg is probably that long, if not longer. It's probably that long now. It's probably 6 or 7 inches long.
Wow.
And it was 1 inch, less than an inch, 3 years ago.
See, and look at that. And you're saying, it took you 3 years to get that. It doesn't matter. It's progress.
No, and it's like, that I can run 10K and I don't have to think about that. I can do 10K.
Yeah. That's your new norm. That's your automatic. That's your next, you're on the, wherever step.
If you'd have told me, like 2014, in 4 years' time, you're going to do a 10K, I'd have gone, you'd be ridiculous. I can't run outside. I hate it.
That's what I said. Yeah. Yeah. And
Look,
it's incredible. I mean, I can't run 10K now, but yeah,
it's
every
wonderful.
time I have a conversation with you, I'm inspired to take on my running again.
It's wonderful to talk to you, Susie, and I really want to carry on this conversation, but we can't. We have to stop. Good things have to come to an end, as they say. Look, Change Your World is the sponsor for this event. You can find details on here. I think there is. Are you still running any offers on Change Your World at all at the moment?
Absolutely. So you get the 2-week free trial. The cost is £1 a day after that. It's £29.99. It is so super cheap. So, you know, so many people say to me, Susie, your price is too low, but I am passionate about this, and I never want finances to be a barrier to people starting a personal development practice. You know, I'm not, yeah, of course it's nice to get paid, but this is not what drives me to get out of bed and do what I do. You know, I want to be able to give people a platform so that they can reach their potential and pay forward what Alistair did for me in the beginning, all that, because like I say, I was in a lot of debt back then. I could ill afford to have life coaching sessions, but because he was reasonably priced, I thought, you know what, I can't afford not to do this. So that's me paying it forward. It's £1 a day. You have a 2-week free trial to see what it's all about. You can try it out in the group. Just go to my website, www.changeyourworld.me, and you'll find all the details there. You can check out all the coaches. We've got 50 plus coaches already in the group. We're adding to that each and every week. We've covered every topic imaginable so far, and we're still building on that. And this is, you might be thinking, oh, well, that's, you know, it's not for me. But what I would say is be open, give it a try. You have no idea what you will learn. It will give you so much in terms of accountability. It will help you navigate the fear, the resistance, whatever it might be that's holding you back. And it will support you in your personal life and your professional life. So this is not just for your own personal development. You know, this can help with your leadership skills as well. If you're a manager, you're running your own business. You know, there's that quote from, his name totally escapes me, but it's, if you want to be successful in business, work harder on you than the job.
Yes.
And I think this, if you want to be successful in anything, work harder on you, because it is you, i.e. me, you know, yourself, that is holding you back because of, you know, whatever it might be, whatever obstacle, whatever limiting belief, whatever pattern, wound, whatever you've buried deep and not dealt with and not even acknowledged, not even aware of, that is what's holding you back. And until you can become aware of that, start working on it, you know, things will not change in the direction that you want to. So yeah, if you're ready to make the change, try out the 2-week free trial, and we look forward to welcoming in the group and helping you to change your world. So
fantastic. Thank you so much. Oh gosh, that awful feedback I'm hearing. Are you getting it as well?
I don't get it at my end.
Oh, I get it. I get it at this end. Yeah. So thank you so much for being with me today. You know, I love our conversations, and so all the best with Change Your World and what goes on. And of course, you and I will be talking again soon. So
well done on this incredible event that you've created, Paul, and well done on you and Cheryl both stepping up, pushing your comfort zone. And yeah, it's just wonderful to see the growth that's happened. And you know, you two have had some real curveballs thrown at you in the last 12 months, and you know, you've handled them with grace and humility and acceptance and ownership, and you've just taken it all on and you've dealt with it. So it's truly inspiring to watch. So
as Simon said,
he said, "What? Sorry, I missed that."
Simon Jordan's thing this week was about once he surrendered,
yes,
everything just fell into place.
Yeah, absolutely. Acceptance and letting go. That's something that I'm working on. Letting go. Let go of whatever does not serve you. I'll put in the reasons and results Facebook page my 7 steps that for accountability to help with you creating change. But one of them is very much about just learning to accept and ditching what does not serve you. You know, give yourself some solid foundations to work from, and you know, anything that drains your energy, reduces your confidence, get rid of it. That's the first and fundamental thing. Ditch it.
Thank you, Susie. Stay on the line a moment. I'm going to drop the feed. I'll drop you from the feed. I'm going to close this down, and I'll just have a quick chat with you.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Be with you in a moment.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Cheers. Now, where has my mouse gone? Oh, there it is. No, it's there. So that's it from me tonight. I will be back later this evening with a wrap-up session. So thank you so much for sticking with us for the hour here. It has been amazing to talk to Susie. Check out Change Your World and do what you need to do. I don't mind what you do as long as you do something. Anyway, enjoy what's coming next. You've got all the speakers coming